morning, Philadelphia, and everywhere else via the live stream. This is Kevin O'Brien. I'm with Wayne Middleton. This is the SMB Acceleration Show, live from Kevin and Wayne's house via WWDB 860. Wayne, how's it going this morning? Excellent. I was gonna say, I hope it's not Corona related. I hope it's more the Corona Extra related. Hey, I understand. I think the biggest issue with that is it's all in our heads now of like, oh my gosh, do I have the symptoms? Do I not? Am I gonna be all right?
So it's been an interesting transition, this whole working from home thing. I'm pretty used to it, as you all know. I work from home permanently, but now I'm having to be the teacher too, because our schools have just introduced the e-learning system, which is going to be fun.
My kids are about maybe this is going to be the second and a half week. Their school kind of went to it initially.
Okay.
And they actually just keep, integrating more technology into it. So my daughter, who's in second grade, is now they're going to be using Google Classroom, which I guess is like a paperless, which I just found out last night. My wife uses it normally as a teacher for, getting homework and putting notes up to parents and all. And I said last week how she does the videos, but I was looking into like, oh well, how do I use it? How do we use it from the student perspective? And it's amazing with all technology how much you have to learn.
Oh yeah. I mean, even just trying to get the kids prepared and set up, from for the morning. We're not getting everything until the Monday morning, which means, just as we're about to start work or as we're on the radio show right now, we're busy scrabbling trying to get all the paperwork printed and everything else. We're using an app called Schoology, and they've basically created an area on there where they're adding in the curriculum as they need, and they sent us a schedule of what the day should look like, which is all very good and well, but we've also got to work during this time, so it's going to be kind of interesting transition to see how this all goes on, So it'd be interesting.
No, it's amazing. I'll tell you what I learned from the Google Classroom last night was I was looking to print out. I guess it shows you how old school I like to do it. I wanted to print out all the teachers' instructions so we could kind of, cross it off day by day kind of thing. And I go to look, and like one of the top help tips, in the search results is Google Classroom was designed as a paperless classroom. It's not easy to print. And I was like,
oh, great,
man. Not what I was hoping to start off with my Sunday night into Monday.
Yeah, but that's not what we need, exactly.
Fortunately, I think the kids are more tech savvy than I, so there'll be no problem getting it rolling.
Unfortunately, so are mine. They both got their Chromebooks, they're all set up, ready to roll.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I was actually thinking of how you mentioned that your daughters love to bake, and the shortage of yeast now that's out there.
Yeah, we stockpiled. We got at least 75 years of yeast in our cupboard.
We will not run out of bread.
No, sir. That and the other thing that we oddly run out of was sugar, and that was very hard to come by, but we've managed to get some of that.
No, that's what my wife said last time. She actually did the grocery shopping last time. I think she needed to just get out of the house, and she showed me this picture. She is like, there's a lot of things in now, but the baking aisle looks like
deserted.
Deserted. Like they haven't even stocked it. And I was like, no way. She took a picture and like the entire yeast, all the sugar, all the flour.
Oh yeah.
Everything was gone. I was like, wow. I guess that many people are taking the opportunity to spend a little time baking.
Well, I think also, there's that sense of safety in it too. If you think about it, You don't have to go to the store if you've got your basic needs. You know, you got your bread and stuff. The only thing, I don't know if there's been a rise in cattle sales recently, because, you know, we could all do with milk. That's the biggest priority. So everyone should buy a cow, put it in their backyard, and sit there and start milking it too. That way you can be completely isolated.
I saw a lady not too far from me asking about having a chicken coop built, and I was like, "Oh wait, we're already there." I'm not sure I'm ready for this.
It's a little extreme, right? We will become little smallholders. Well, you know, that's an interesting.
I may have bought a 25-pound bag of flour like a month ago.
There you go.
Starting. I tend to always buy flour and rice from Costco, so I was not really part of the people reacting to it. I just kind of do it anyway. I just think it's so much cheaper.
Yeah, it actually makes a lot more sense to do it in bulk in that way. So yeah, no, I mean, kudos. That's a great tip for the upcoming month. Get it at Costco.
Like I saw on Twitter, I'm very interested, and it was a guy, he's a biologist or something. He was saying how, I guess he must be a big brewer, so he uses yeast and all, and he was like, oh, I have something, everybody, you can use dried fruits to extract the yeast that is left in dried fruits and make your own starter from it.
Wow.
I saved the tweet just to see. I'm pretty sure that science might be above me, but we'll see.
You never know, right? It's worth trying.
Yes.
So, I mean, today's show, what we discussed, kind of going over for today, just given the culture that we're finding ourselves in right now, we figured it would be a great time to actually start talking about building a successful marketing strategy. Now, we know we've done this on another show, but not under these conditions, which I think is really interesting. And what we wanted to do is work on the idea of not only setting up that strategy, but how you can do it cost effectively. So we've done our task of saying under $100 to get started. So let's make it like under $1,000. We could kind of broaden it a little bit more. But quite honestly, what the tips and advice we're going to give you today could help you keep your business going for a minimum of $100 a day or $100 a week or whatever. But we're going to try to give you some tips to save money on your marketing and keep your business going without risking your bank balance, without destroying any capital you may have in place, and without, unfortunately, a lot of people are having to close their doors and close their business. How can they, if you close for a certain amount of time, it looks like this is going to go into the end of April at this point, maybe longer. That's going to be detrimental. So you don't want to kill your business off if you can help it. And so there's ways we can help you with the marketing plans to minimize your cost and still get a good return on investment.
Yeah, no, I'm excited I don't know if excited is the right word. I mean, I'm excited to discuss it. I'm not excited that so many small businesses are going through this. And, as my time owning a small business, I was thinking about it last night when we were, talking about the show and all that. It would have been really hard, closing for 45 or 30 days or 20, whatever. That's a huge challenge, and I think this is kind of, as you put it, a great time if you have been a business owner who's forced to have this happen to kind of, take that look at your marketing and say, hey, what can I do so as soon as we're ready to go, we're back up and cranking.
Yeah, like business as usual. I mean, it really is a challenge, and depending on your industry, like we're fortunate, right, in marketing and in design to some level, we can still keep our doors open to a certain degree and provide services. But the trouble is our clients, if they're small to medium, are going through this challenge of, how can I keep going when there's possibly 45 days, 90 days, we don't know yet, of uncertainty and lack of income. So we might be able to throw out some ideas. We all know that fast food restaurants are still open. There are people that are doing takeout from restaurants. So if you run a Chinese restaurant, you can still operate. But if you're one of these more exclusive restaurants, shall we say, the chances are you want I'm going to use this word, you want butts on seats. But there could be opportunity here to create, more of a delivery service potentially. If you're the head chef or something, you can still create your great dishes, but you just have to transform your business a little bit to distribution through delivery. And although that may lessen your brand, it still keeps the income coming in, and it can still keep your business ticking over in this really uncertain, difficult time.
Absolutely. Have you seen a lot of that up in the Lehigh Valley? A lot of the restaurants going to all takeout now?
Yeah, all of them are. At this point, Lehigh Valley is technically closed.
Oh, okay.
Same as Philly.
Over the weekend or something, right?
Yeah. So we're in a similar position to you guys down in Philly and a lot of other people throughout the US. You can still go for walks and do kind of some activities, but trips to the store are pretty much all that you can really... You can't just go walking around Target for half an hour.
No,
probably would.
Want to, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you have to go. You have to have a need to go. You can still go out for a daytime walk if you want to do that, or a hike, or a cycling. Go cycling or whatever. But yeah, our access to stores and things like that is extremely limited.
Okay. Yeah, we were just joking. We think our dog was enjoying the first week of this, but now he's been on so many walks daily that I think he's ready for it all to be over.
Yeah, he's like, dude, I don't get this much exercise. I think our dog's probably about the same, to be honest. Although she does love her walks.
Yeah, I mean, we usually take them, but now it's been like, lunchtime for 45 minutes, after dinner for 35, 40 minutes, like when it's not raining. And he looks at us like, oh, God, again?
Yeah.
But it is. It definitely has changed things. I actually saw a really high-end restaurant near us make the transition, and I was actually going to bring them up, and he kind of gave me the great transition, is that they either have their marketing person or social media person, or it's probably one and the same, I would guess, but they immediately went to running Facebook ads that were around them now offering delivery.
That's fantastic.
And it was genius. They had great images, so they must have already had them in stock, so.
Yeah.
But actually, then again, if you're a restaurant, it's going to be one of my ideas for later, but I'll just throw it out there right now. It's not a bad time to do some product photography, and I was actually going to get your thoughts kind of a little bit later on, taking good photos of your food and stuff, because I was taking some photos over the weekend and they were terrible. So,
what, food or just general photos?
It was actually product photos for like an e-commerce thing, and they came out awful, and I just gave up. But it actually led me to thinking that, you know what, if you're actually a restaurant and you're doing most of your normal menu, and you have the time, because you're already going to have the employees there to do the takeout, it's not a bad time to start building up that image library.
Absolutely. It can all be helpful. I mean, you can get pictures of your staff with the prep area and show people kind of behind the scenes kind of stuff. And again, even with the photography, when it comes down to the actual end product, that's the kind of that in restaurant terms, that's the money shot. Right, that food, that final dish, that everything that goes into that. What you want to capture there is just it's kind of interesting, the freshness of the food, the steam just slowly coming off of it. So you have to play around with your settings on your camera to make sure you've got a great ISO setup, you've got the shutter speed correct. You want to make that food look as inviting as it does on the plate in person. And so what you want to do is make sure you've got plenty of natural light around you. Don't stage it too much. Like, don't put it on a white background because it just looks odd and out of position. Keep it on a nice surface. Think about the surface you're preparing that food on. Like, if you've got a lovely piece of, if your tableware or your table itself is some sort of vintage wood or something unique about it, put it on that. Make sure your tableware is very nicely squared up and lined up properly, and then shoot it so that you don't shoot the plate. You don't shoot the food directly in the middle of the shot. Aim it off to the left or right, so you cut the plate a little bit, but you can still see the image. That would be in my mind, that makes it much more realistic, much more inviting. And what you really do want to show, if it's a salad, you want to show kind of that dressing and the freshness of that food. And the way you do that is by having the camera set so that you can actually see those little droplets of water or oil on it. So it's really crisp, really clear photography. So you have to really set up a tripod, keep that camera nice and steady, open up the exposure level for a little longer than you would a normal photo. And then even in the retouching, if you're able to do some retouching, just elevate the colors and the contrast a little bit. It will go a long way to making that photography really nice and look very warm and appetizing.
Absolutely. Oh, that's some great tips. No, I mean, whoever did these, the restaurant's called Savona, and it's like the high-end Italian or Mediterranean restaurant. And whoever did it, obviously, they hired a professional, because that you kind of described exactly how their pictures look. Everything is very crisp and fresh looking, and you can see the condensation almost on the food. And it looks super inviting, and they've done a great job. And I think it was smart. And I imagine for them, it's more about stopping the bleeding at this time than making money.
Oh yeah,
it's just,
I would think so.
If we can make 10% of what we normally do, at least we're, paying some bills or get some of our staff working or something.
Yeah, keeping your overheads low, but being able to stay afloat. I mean, that's really what everyone's up to now, isn't it? If you think about it,
for sure.
There's very few companies in our area that are still having people come in. I know of a few, but not many. Manufacturing is going to be interesting. That's going to be down. It's going to be hard to get your workers in your factory coming in and doing prefab or anything like that. I think even Martin Guitars, very historic company, have the minimal amount of staff available to them to continue producing the guitars that they do, because it's very hands-on. It's a very cramped working environment there, and a lot of the people who are there, how do you space it so that you can have everyone so far away and make sure they're in a healthy working environment? It's the same thing as Amazon and their delivery centers. A lot of them have slowed down, so you can't expect to have things as quick as what you did, because people don't want to work in this environment because of the fear of catching it, which no one can blame anyone for. And secondly,
no, absolutely,
as a company owner, you can't really afford to kind of keep a full level of staff available to you during this time. It's too risky. It's too expensive. So you have to be very careful.
No, and I actually wanted to give a great shout out to one of your and I former clients. It's funny. I actually tagged them back in maybe a week and a half ago, and the company's Protocam up in the Lehigh Valley, and they do rapid prototyping, manufacturing, and I just was part of this LinkedIn group, and the guy was saying, we hear such terrible news, maybe we could all put out some positivity, you know, and just kind of change the narrative. And I thought it was a great idea, and I was like, you know what, it is. And I saw this Italian company that is, what were they doing? They were making parts for ventilators that they couldn't get out of their 3D printer. So I tagged Protocam and did, put this post. Hey, it really gives me great belief that we're all going to that we'll all get past this because of, ingenuity, manufacturing, and all. And, I kind of put it out, and then I saw a article over the weekend that Protocam is making those N95 masks for the Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, the owner and their whole team is really, from all my experiences, were great to work with.
They were, yeah.
And it was just awesome to see that, you put a bunch of really smart engineers at a problem, and all of a sudden they, have the solution in 6-7 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just takes something drastic like this to happen for people to come together and solve challenges, right? So, what can you do to, how, as a business owner, what can you do to help right now, and I think that's a great example of it. And actually, it's not exploiting the situation; it's trying to make a more positive outcome. Yes. And I think that's really crucial. I mean, even down to what we do. Quite honestly, all we can do is try to get ideas out there for people to continue working and continue their business running during these really challenging times, and to give them ideas and tools and tips on how to enable their staff to continue doing what they do remotely. So introducing people to Slack and the Google platform. If all sorts of things like that can make a big difference.
No, absolutely. No, and I think, that's what, maybe we'll have to look to do that this week. Maybe we can even just jump on the live stream and let people, if you have questions or you have any questions today, let us know. We're happy to take a look at your website free of charge and just throw out some ideas that you could be working on, over the coming time while you might be stuck at home like the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to continue blogging during this time, and even blogging about how you're coping through this situation can be a really positive thing. How you've changed or diversified what you do. What tools are you using to help run your business remotely? There's I'm on LinkedIn almost every day at this point, and there's all these there's big companies on there talking about how they switched over to remote and it's business as usual, and you see those posts where it's a screenshot of like 10 different people looking at you from a webcam. Like, that's still great content right now, and it's ways of, they may be big organizations, but what they're doing is accessible to everyone. And so, yes. Even if you're running a small business and it's more of your online kind of idea, there's a way of kind of getting behind the scenes and producing content that's relevant, and right now could be the difference between getting more brand exposure than anything,
No, absolutely. I think it's really, it's a great time, as unfortunate as to say that, but it's a great time to be putting out content and, really getting it ready to, if you're not publishing now, if you're like, it just doesn't seem, I don't feel that it makes sense, cue those, blogs up, get them ready, because it is going to come out of this, and then when it does, you should be ready to fire on all cylinders, because most likely as a small business, you're going to have to, you're going to really need to just hit the ground running. So now's a great time. And I know we got to go to a quick break, but we can get it back. I actually am going to share what I've done, at my own house to kind of set up for the show, our marketing, our videos and all. And it is definitely not what you would expect, but sometimes you just got to make do with what you can, right?
Got to improvise.
Exactly. So we're going to take a quick break, everybody, and when we come back, we're really going to talk about some low-cost ways to handle your small business marketing and really get yourself set up for let's all hope is May 1st, So when we come back, Wayne and I are going to talk some small business marketing. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to take a look at your marketing.
Welcome to 2020. It's time to give your small business a good makeover. Why not look at a new website? Why not look at your brand and see how you're performing online? Or are you trying to grow your social media channels? SMB Acceleration Radio Show can have the answers for you. Join us as a guest or be sponsoring the show. We can help no matter what the problem. Call 855-308-382. To promote your business or sponsor a show, give us a call at 855-308-5825. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Google, Stitcher, and all your favorite podcast platforms.
This is a public service announcement test from TakingFishing.org to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before heading out on the water. Let us begin. Are you a bear? Do you have a beak? Do you have plumage? Please tell me you answered no, which means you need to get a fishing license and have your boat registered. Because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at TakingFishing.org.
All right, Philadelphia and everywhere else via the live stream worldwide. We're back. We're about to talk some low-cost small business marketing. And as I mentioned before the break, Wayne, I should tell you, I'm debating about showing you because my wife might kill me if I show everyone on the video side. The studio I set up in my attic. Oh, it is.
Kevin, I commend you on getting it all set up. It's awesome and definitely a challenge.
Oh, it is. I'm actually in my attic, which is it's a finished attic, and it is maybe 6 feet 4 inches high. So unfortunately, being under 6 foot, I fit fine in here. And for those on the live stream can see, I actually have the backdrop behind me because I was shooting some product photography. But I have a folding table, my tripod, a couple of lights I have for our product photography, and I'm actually stuck in the corner because the rest of the attic is full of stuff. But the goal was, it's quiet, it's works. I had to run an extension cord, some power up here and all. I didn't run a new line, but just get a big extension cord and all. And I think at this time of the world, it's really about make do with what you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I can tell you from what I can see is it's very well lit right now. I can see you nice and cleanly. Your backdrop needs a little bit of unfolding there.
Yeah. It's not best. It's actually, I was moving stuff around and then ran out of time this morning.
Yeah,
I'm trying to adjust it.
I hear you. Similarly, I've got a little collapsible photo booth, actually. It's got a strip of LED lights across the top, and I can include more in the bottom if I need to really elevate the light, and then natural LED lights. And for pretty much up to, I don't know, maybe 30 inches, a product of about 30 inches, I can do a pretty good product photography setup. And for a camera, I can use my digital SLR for it. But for the most part, I've been using my iPhone and then using Lightroom and a few other little tricks to make sure it's nice and crisp and high quality.
No way, really?
Yep.
I should have used the iPhone. I was fighting with the DSLR over the weekend, and they were not coming out good at all. Even with the lights and the backdrop set up. I should have probably just switched to the iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, the iPhone, surprisingly, as long as it's a well-lit thing, and quite honestly, the biggest boon that I have is a remote clicker. So I get it set up on a tripod, and I get the frame set up how I want it, and I always use the grid view on the camera. Okay. I use this little push button that just takes the snap for me, so I don't have to touch it, which means I'm not adjusting it. I'm not kind of in risk of moving anything, and so I get some really crisp, very clean shots just doing it that way.
Wait, you have a clicker for your iPhone?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's genius.
It's just a Bluetooth.
DSLR. I didn't realize they even made them for iPhone.
Yeah, it's just a Bluetooth. I can't even remember where I got it from. I got it ages ago. But it's a little Bluetooth. There's two buttons basically. There's one for still and one for video. And so I can set everything up. Just push one button, push, and then off I go. It does make things a lot easier.
So, you know what? On that, what do you think your total investment in the equipment you have set up is?
It's under $100.
Okay.
The booth itself, the little light booth that I got, was probably the most expensive thing at $20 odd. Let's say $30 for that, and I got it online. You can find them on Amazon. There's a bunch of them out there. Again, you don't need anything too high end. You just got to think about what is the average size of product that you're going to put in there and buy accordingly. My iPhone tripod was maybe $5.
So do you have one of the smaller tripods for the iPhone, or is it the full size with the iPhone mount?
My one's just an iPhone, a dedicated tabletop tripod with the iPhone mount on it already. It can also take GoPros as well, so I can switch it out and put my GoPro on it. So if I want to do some video in GoPro mode, I can do that. Oh, and awesome. Then the clicker, again, I can't remember exactly where I got it from, but it was cheap. It was, I'd say, no more than $10.
Wow. So I mean, $100 setup. If you were someone who is interested and you've been dying to start that e-commerce business, I mean, for $100 while you're stuck working from home. And I was originally thinking, now I think this is a misconception a lot of us might have, or maybe it was just me. I was thinking without having my commute, I was going to have all this extra time while working from home. But being homeschooling has definitely eaten up all the commuting time plus a lot.
Yeah, it does. For the most part, any photography that I get to do, and again, I'm doing it for fun. It's not that I have to do this for work or anything, but I can. A lot of the time, I'm just doing pictures of my flies that I tie, or some product shots for brands I represent on social media. I'm doing it mostly in the evening. It takes about, it's already set up. I've got it permanently set up in the basement. It takes me about 2 seconds to go down, put my phone in, set the shot up, and then click, 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 click. I've done 50 odd photos in about 40 minutes, and then off I go.
That's awesome.
So it's quick and easy, and because it's tabletop and collapsible and portable and what have you, it gives you the ability to take your photo studio anywhere you need to go. And that's what I like about it.
No, and that portability is huge, especially in today's day and age, and we're seeing with the remote working.
Yep.
Being able to have that ability to move is really key in a lot of ways to success. Like the world isn't static anymore.
No, I mean, look at this. Who would have thought we'd be able to keep a radio show going during these remote times? You would think, quite wrongly, honestly, that you'd have to go into the studio, record your show, and or pre-record and send it into the studio to air. We're able to Skype into WWDB, set it up so that we can both come on camera. The only reason I'm not on camera today is because it just makes my computer slow.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I've got a lot of things running on it right now. And we're able to record our show easily. We can do our podcast with just a laptop and a microphone, and off you go. I mean, it's not as difficult as what people may think it is.
No. You had pointed out in a previous episode about natural light.
Yes.
And that was actually one of the reasons. Where I'm sitting right now, actually, you can see it a little bit behind me. The checkered background where it ends is actually a window. There's 2 of them, and I set up the product shots and my card table I'm sitting at here, between 2 windows, so that if the lighting I had didn't work, I could always open the blinds and at least get some kind of extra, natural light.
Yeah, awesome. And I think again, even I think your whole setup didn't cost you an arm and a leg, right? It was fairly cost effective.
All in right now, it's probably over time grown to be a little bit more expensive, but that was the real additional cost is I bought one of the light setups with the backdrop from Amazon, and I think it was on sale for maybe $120, $110, something like that. And that honestly is the biggest expense I have had, and that came with 2 of the light box kind of, what are they called?
The light filter lamps. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Where it has like a, the black piece that goes over it, the
and a diffuser on it.
Diffusion cloth. Yeah. There's 2 of them that are actually on right now. I have 2 of the more, I guess, still photography ones with the umbrellas.
Yep.
And it's definitely was the cheapest set I could find because, again, I don't do it enough currently to make it, worth spending $500-$600 on professional equipment.
Absolutely.
So that was like $110, $120, say. As we mentioned before, you can actually see the Yeti mic is next to me. That's like a $70, $80 purchase. And as we always even stream from the studio, the Logitech, 1080 streaming webcam was $70, $80. So I mean, all told, $200, $300, $350 maybe.
Still under 500, right? Still within our $1,000 kind of idea.
Absolutely.
Well within it.
And I'm actually I have a little bit of backfill light on the floor that is part of the Down and Dirty light kit from Wisty I put together at one point, and I actually have to put a picture up when we do a blog about this. And those lights are just in traditional, like workshop.
Spotlights kind of idea.
And I have I have two clothespins with diffusion paper over the front of them. And they're literally sitting on the floor, and I kind of use the stand part of the clamp to kind of prop them up a little bit, and they're the lights pointing up doing the backfill. The other ones are kind of pointing a little bit to the side. So yeah, for literally less than $400, you could, especially if you were not me and had your backdrop better set up, and you have the backdrop came with the black one, a white screen, and a green screen. So you can actually pretty much do any type of video or still photography you need. And if you're somebody looking to create content, you could easily be, knocking out a video or two a day with even a setup a little bit less than this.
Yeah. I mean, in its most basic form, if you've got a place, an office in your house where you typically sit down to get on with your work, you can use the webcam on your computer and record video. All you need is a decent bit of light, hopefully with the windows open or some extra lights around you so that you're well lit. But you can sit there and record very easily just using your webcam from your computer. So there's really no excuse for not creating video-based content.
No, I honestly think, cost-effective wise, my system is way kind of overblown. Like you said, you really could sit down with your laptop camera in a quiet space and knock out a video a day or 2 videos a day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, these are great little tips for creating content, and let's be honest, you're going to get your biggest bang for your buck by building up your video library. People consume video much more readily than perhaps blog posts. But even if you've created a video, let's pick a topic for us. It could be, like this, Marketing 101 or Marketing on a Budget. We create a video, we talk for 10, 15 minutes about ways you can, implement marketing tactics for minimal money. And all you have to do is take that transcription of the video and then expand it, tell it in more of a, adjust it so it's a bit more of a story flow rather than just a monologue. And next thing you know, you've not only produced a video, you've also got a blog article that you can use on your own blog and then reshare elsewhere. And if you're really smart, you can do photography at the same time, especially if you set it up with a remote clicker.
Yes.
You can start getting some photography as well around you doing the presentation, or if you've got some online examples of things that you found that are really fascinating, take some screenshots. You can start adding those into your blog article too. So, it really doesn't have to be complex. As long as you can put together an idea of what you want to talk about, and it's relevant to your business and potentially other business owners out there, or to your audience, there's no reason not to be using this time when, let's be honest, the day-to-day is probably slowed down a little bit. It gives you the opportunity to keep relevant and keep on point and keep noticeable by using things like video and blog content to continue marketing your business and your expertise.
And honestly, probably may have never been. All right, I'll backtrack that 3 steps. Other than 10 years ago, if you were smart like Joe Rogan, there was no better time to start a YouTube channel than right now.
Yeah,
because I just saw that worldwide, they've no longer are allowing videos to stream in HD because there's so much YouTube being watched right now. They didn't want to burden the internet service providers globally.
Yeah, people are consuming video content every minute of the day. The spike in YouTube channel traffic is immense, and so it is a great time to, if you haven't got a YouTube channel, it's a great time to start to build one and create content that's relevant to your audience and your business, and start building up thought leadership rather than potentially having to focus purely on getting things done. Let's start sharing some content out there so you're still top of mind. So when things do stabilize and get back to some semblance of normal, people are able to remember you from your videos.
Yes.
I mean, I use it for everything. YouTube. I actually probably use it more than Google these days. So
wow, do you really?
Yeah, if I'm looking for something, or I'm trying to, we had a problem with our water heater, and I wanted to look up, lack of hot water coming out of the water heater. I didn't go to Google. I went to YouTube, and then the video I saw like 50 different videos on tips on how to fix or address the problem. I've used them, and it has helped. I think the harsh reality that I learned from one video is our water heater is probably too old and needs replacing. But I've managed to eke out a bit more life out of it. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. My father-in-law, that is his de facto go-to for anything he wants to know. It's not Google. It's 100% YouTube.
Yeah.
And my wife recently, I can't remember. Oh, he's really big and he really is into cars and all. And my wife was like, well, if you were to look up, this model versus this model, like, where would you go? And all he sends back is like 2 YouTube videos reviewing that Model A versus Model B. He's like, well, here's your answer.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? It's easy.
And I think that goes for all businesses, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about that impact on your website. So again, let's boil this back down. You can spend a lot of money putting out advertising through Google and other channels to drive people to your website. And I'm not saying YouTube replaces this in any way, shape or form, but the amount of SEO value and the way people are searching now, and the fact that people are using YouTube as a search engine, it pays to create a few videos, put stuff out there, optimize that video in the description, in the title. That can actually replace, if you did that could replace 3 or 4 of your ads. You still need the ads to run because, not everyone is doing this. Not everyone is, it's a mix of channels that you need to do to promote your business effectively. But YouTube can be a huge advantage over your competition.
Absolutely. I the more I've seen of what we have done with YouTube and spending more time on YouTube, I guess, learning about it, as we're doing our own marketing and all, and even, in that way we just mentioned of thinking about, or needing to learn something and going about and finding it on there, there's just about, someone is searching for just about everything on YouTube, whether it's how to fix something or how to do something.
Product advice.
It's actually a great product development. And it's something I just mentioned to my wife the other day, was something like, and I'm sure you actually have some great options, but like something like Loom. If you're trying to show something on your website, or maybe we'll use an accountant. So say you're an accountant and you set up a spreadsheet a certain way, and you want to let your customers know, your clients, hey, this is the best way I've found to do it. You could use an app like Loom and record both yourself as the quote-unquote talking head while sharing your screen, walking through it, and, making it easy for people.
Yeah.
What do you use for screen capture plus, like, talking video?
QuickTime.
Okay.
You can record with QuickTime, surprisingly, and I don't think it's the Pro version. I think it's the base straight out of the box.
Yep.
If you're a Mac owner, you can capture your screen and record your voice over the top of it. So it's voiceover. You can do video straight to it. So you can, again, like, just switch on QuickTime. I can record a video. And if I just want to, perhaps record audio, I can do that through QuickTime too. So it's one tool that does all. Beyond that, there's Screencast is another app. There's one, Camster is another one that you can use, which enables you to put a thumbnail of your head in one of the corners of the screen.
Okay.
So that,
that's what Loom is pretty similar.
Yeah, if you're doing a tutorial and you're walking through an app that you've built or something like that, or you're doing that Excel kind of idea and you're showing people how to put some certain equations in there to work out taxes and things like that, Camtasia can really help you with that. And again, I think it's a minimal fee. There's a bunch of free options out there too that are worth looking at.
Yeah, I think Loom is free. I think it's still free, and that's not a bad one. It's a Chrome extension. You just get it from the Chrome library.
Yep.
No, there's plenty, and that's the thing. I mean, we all know businesses are hurting cash flow wise, so it's really not a bad idea to find a free option and just get started. You know, you might find that you really enjoy doing video, and now it becomes a completely, different way to start interacting with a potential audience or growing your business.
Absolutely, and if nothing else, the minimal takeaway from that is thought leadership. So always, again, even down to when you're doing these videos, and even if it's a certain way you set up an Excel file as an accountant or a service to someone, put your logo on it, make the channel your channel, and don't be afraid to close it out with a call to action. Like, give me a call if you've got tax needs that are beyond your capabilities, or this video didn't help solve this problem, whatever. Put a call to action at the end of it for those people viewing to come and check you out and give you a call. It's a great lead gen potential there as well. So it's well worth doing. And then you can get into kind of setting up. So once you've got a few videos, you can set up little cards within the latest post, the latest video that you put out there. You can set up cards to link to other relevant videos that you've done. So our Marketing 101 here for under $100. We've got another video that is a similar idea, and what we would do in our YouTube setup is set them up as little cards so that midway through or towards the end of this show, you can actually go on to look at more content from us regarding the topics we're talking about.
No, that's a great tip, and I mean there is probably a thousand great. There's definitely a handful of really good YouTube like walkthrough tutorials to get your channel to that level of, hey, you know what? Throw these cards in, play around with it. If you have the time, it's a great time to experiment.
Absolutely.
I think it was actually something I was thinking of over the weekend when you and I were working on is, there's a piece of news that came out, and it was really how, small businesses tend to be in such a cash crunch.
Yep.
On average, they only have about, this is according to a Harvard Business School study, 27 days of cash flow, restaurants about 17.
Yep.
And you and I have been working with a great small business, and I just kind of wanted to mention it real quick, and that's, the cash flow app.
Yep.
I think that really, you might not want to see it, and I mean, sometimes the small business owners, we prefer to stick our head in the sand, so to speak, instead of really, recognizing what's happening. But understanding your cash flow now, even as bad as it might be, is kind of, imperative to knowing what you're going to need to do when you ramp back up.
Exactly. If you can't, I mean, for us, our cash flow would be as simple as, okay, we created 25 invoices, right? And out of those invoices, we've maybe got 15 that have been paid. Well, we know that we have a certain amount of cash flow based on those 15, but we can also predict that, hey, within 30 days, those remaining invoices that are out there, we need to follow up, we need to chase, we need to get those back in so that we can, meet payroll, if we, we've got to get paid. Or if we're looking to rent different equipment or look to expand our offering in some way. Without that insight into how our cash flow is managed and where we stand on a month-to-month, even week-to-week basis, you're running blind. How can you grow if you don't know what's coming in and what's going out in order to build your business up more effectively?
No, I mean, that's a great point. It really is, and I mean, you really have to know. And the fact that the team at Cashflow, which is Cash, C-A-S-H, P-H-L-O-W, flow, like a PH flow. They're actually going to be launching this week. I don't know if I should tell everybody now, but why not? I'm already doing it.
Yeah.
They're going to be offering, a free startup package to small businesses because as a small business themselves, they know how tough these times are, and they want as many small businesses to have better understanding of their cash flow as possible.
Yeah.
So if you go to cashflow.com this week, again, it's cashplow.com, you can go ahead and request a free introductory use of this tool and kind of spend a little bit of time understanding where your cash flow is at, and then being able to say, okay, well, you know what, I have this amount of staff, we're doing this, we expect to see this, and we can push hard on this, and then, once the world is back to normal, we're going to ramp up to X number to kind of make up for lost time.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're not doing your finances yourself and you use an accountant, share it with the accountant. Say, hey, I came across this, or I heard about this great new app. It looks like it's something worth looking at. It's all about managing your cash flow so you know what's coming in, what's going out. Recommend it to your accountants. Get them there. I mean, there's no better time than when it's free to go and check it out. It is a very powerful tool, and it basically uses your current financial information in order to establish where your cash flow's at. So it just takes some of the human element out of things. It takes out some of the manual aspects of, typically most people are using QuickBooks or Excel to run this sort of information. And this plugs in nicely to QuickBooks, so that's something to consider. And it makes life easier for you, rather than sitting there not knowing and kind of guessing or relying on your accountant to keep you up to date every month. Very easily you can go in and see exactly where you stand in terms of your cash flow.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's and if it allows you to free up some extra time so that you can, spend that time working on your business, you know what, that's amazing, because right now is the time to grow your business. So you know what, how about we just take the last, what we have, about 7-8 minutes here. Yep. Let's just maybe throw out a bunch of low-cost ideas for small business owners.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We'll keep it under 1,000, and I guess instead of iterating on how to do it, we will go out. Let's just get it out there as possible. Do you have one you want to start with, or?
Yeah, I actually, right off the top of my bat, this isn't necessarily marketing. But it's something that I think during this time that is worth doing, and that is, if you have a premium membership to LinkedIn, now is the time to educate yourself as well. So if you have this extra time hopefully on your hands, and you're looking into kind of things that you want to improve in terms of your business, well, LinkedIn has a huge amount of educational learning opportunities and certifications. So you can take courses, video courses on SEO, on Marketing 101, on Facebook advertising, a number of different things, even down to Excel, and you'll learn some tricks and tips within Excel that you didn't know you could do. So take this time to educate yourself, or recommend to your team members that, hey, go and take a couple of courses on this. That, for the most part, if you've got a premium membership to LinkedIn, they're free. So that's one thing I would say is, as a small business owner right now, knowing that you have to wear these various hats, and even if there's only 2 or 3 of you that run that work at the company, now's a great time to get people certified and re-educate them in terms of some skills that they typically wouldn't have. Maybe that's marketing, maybe it's design, maybe it's photography. But yeah, check out LinkedIn. They have a ton of them, and it's worth doing. There's others out there that you pay for. There's Udemy, which is another educational course, which will pay, you'll pay, but not ridiculous amounts of money. You're talking about $10 for a course, up to the most expensive I've seen is $150 for a course, and you get proper certifications from these things, and it's worth doing. It broadens your skill set.
Oh, I think I'm going to piggyback that, and the Facebook Blueprint certification when we had Facebook Messenger on. That's a great one. Especially if you're a small business owner, you're the solopreneur, and getting Facebook's not going anywhere. So Facebook Blueprint, Google Analytics certification. It's actually a great time to kind of, if there's any topics you've really been looking to as a small business owner, certifications or learning anything right now can't hurt. It can improve your skill set.
Exactly. And so coming off of the learning, I think, you brought up Google and things like that. It's now a good time to kind of also look at ways to streamline your processes, right? So if you're, again, I'm going to speak to my expertise, I guess, as a designer. I'm always looking at things to help me work more efficiently. So look at tools that you could use. Maybe you've never used Slack as a communication channel or collaboration tool. Well, download a version of it, have a play with it, see what it looks like. Again, you can go paid or you can go free. The free will be enough to get you started and kind of connect you to your counterpart or your couple of co-workers that you have. It's a great tool for that. The other thing you can start to look at is, okay, if we're running a project from start to finish, what are we using? Are we using Excel? Most people will be. Is there a way to do that more efficiently? And there's a bunch of different project management tools out there available to you. There's also Smartsheets, which is another great, it's like Excel but on steroids. It gives you the ability to set up project plans, financial plans, and they've got a lot of built-in templates that you can kind of play around with to find that perfect mix of what works for you. So it's worth looking at these different tools, these different pieces of software, and I'm sure you've got a few, Kevin, that can help you streamline your business so you're not as dependent on a few of the bigger lists like Outlook and things like that. And ultimately, the one that I would probably push everyone to, if you're using the Microsoft suite and you're using Word and you're using Excel and you're using PowerPoint, now could be a good time to explore Google's. Google's it's online, it's more secure, I think. It's more accessible to people, and in these remote times, it's actually a great tool to use remotely, because you can share, you can be working in a PowerPoint, there could be multiple people working in a PowerPoint or an Excel spreadsheet, and you can see the updates happening live. And I know Microsoft have similar, but if you're on the fence about it, it's worth looking at.
I'll tell you, I lean 100% in Google's camp. Unless you are a business that might have had a server for the last X number of years and it's just too much of a headache to bring over. But Google's one feature that I have not found Microsoft's work well at all is Google will search the documents and also has a pretty good understanding of what images are.
Yeah.
So you can put in like a line of text you might know is in a PDF or 3 words, and it'll find that PDF, whereas, the traditional Microsoft does not. All you have to find it by file name or some meta information.
Yep.
And to me, that drives me crazy, because I might know, like, oh, this phrase I'm sure is in one of these that I'm looking for. If I put the phrase in, I can find it. And until Microsoft has that, I think it's going to be a really tough way to, catch up with Google.
I agree, and they all interplay with each other. So all these, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Drive, Google Slides, all of those tools play together. So when you're searching, it's looking through all of those for that one thing that you're looking for, and they all integrate really well. And if you have Slack, you can actually integrate Slack into your Google platform as well. So you can actually use Slack to look and search, and it bases it on the same Google algorithm. So it's actually a really cool little suite of tools right there that can just make searching for a specific document much, much easier.
No, absolutely. And I guess we're about to at the end here. Any last thoughts, Wayne?
Yeah, any last thoughts? It doesn't have to be doom and gloom. Let's use this time to broaden our horizons, look at new things, re-educate ourselves, and, the biggest thing that I can say at the end of the show is let's all support each other. Small businesses have to come together in order to survive at this time.
Oh, I love it, man. I'm with you. Let's all support the small businesses, and everyone remember some of the greatest businesses were started in, with what seemed like dire times. So keep at it, small business owners, and look forward to talking to everybody again.